In this video, we're going to finish a project we started 2 years ago. So sit back and we'll see if we can get it done. So here we are up in beautiful northern Wisconsin on the 4th of July weekend, and we're going to revisit a project that we started 2 years ago. So you might remember this revival we did. I'll post a link here. 2 years ago, 4th of July weekend also, where we got this boat to fire after sitting for over 20 years, maybe more. We're not sure. So this is a 1979 Switzer with a 140 two-stroke Evinrude. The thing that stopped us last time was their winch was not working, so we couldn't get it down in the water. It also had a wiring issue where our trim wouldn't go up, it would only go down. So we fixed the winch, which I'll post a link to here, over the winter, and now we're working on getting the rest of this boat going. I've already replaced the fuel lines. They got a new battery. We put some fresh two-stroke fuel in there. Now I'm going to tackle the wiring issue on this solenoid. So let's hop up in the boat and we'll take a look at that. All right, so here we are up in the boat, and here's the solenoid that controls the tilt and the tilt. Okay, so we have an up and we have a down. Now, the down is working, but the down does not run through the solenoid. It just runs through the switch and it has power interruption, whereas the up runs through this solenoid. So here's the old solenoid that we put in there, and there's no labels on any of the terminals or anything. So we went to the auto parts store and they gave us an automotive one. So now what I've been reading is that the automotive ones do not work correctly, but you can still get there. So basically I need to take this blue wire and put it down here, and this black wire for ground just goes back to the box here. So I'm going to try to hook it up that way and see if that actually fixes the problem. So just give me a moment and I will do that. All right, boys, here's where we're at. This blue wire, or the small blue wire, controls the up. This blue wire goes to the switch to go up. I checked the switch works. I ran continuity from this end of the wire to the end of the switch terminal there. That circuit is complete. This bigger blue wire goes up to the, called the upside of the trim motor, okay? So what I've done is I've taken my blue wire that goes to the switch and just bypass the solenoid altogether and have it touching the blue wire that goes to the trim motor itself. And we're gonna go over here and try the switch and see what happens. So that works, and our down works, okay? So I think we may have a faulty solenoid that they sold me. But let me go ahead and do a little more poking around here and see if we can figure something else out. But that might be the culprit here, so stay tuned. All right, did a little playing around here. So here's what I figured out. The original way they had this wired, which I believe now is incorrect, is they had the blue wire up here, which would have been the I ignition terminal, which is incorrect. And then this is the S terminal down here. And the S terminal had the ground wires to it, so that wasn't going to work. So here's what I figured out. So I've got my two ground wires just pinched together here with a vice grips. I've got my chassis of my solenoid, which should go to a chassis ground down here touching my vice grips. I've got my blue wired to this is the one that goes to the switch, wired to the S terminal. So that's more or less mimicking how a starter works, right? So you got big power coming up here. This wire goes to the ignition switch. Once you turn the ignition switch to try to start an engine, it applies power here and it closes the circuit so that these two connect and basically start the engine. So it's kind of the same thing here too, right? So I flipped the switch now since there's a power wire going to that switch, and it's going to apply power here. It's going to close the circuit, and we should get some noise here. So let's see what happens. Our trim should go up now. Yep, there it goes. So I believe now, just for shits and giggles, I want to take the old solenoid they had in there and see if this guy actually replaced it and just wired it wrong, and that's why it wasn't working. So let me go ahead and do that quick, and I'll bring it right back. Well, I tried wiring up the old solenoid just like I did the new one, and it didn't work. I even tried switching the blue wire to the top instead of the bottom, and it didn't work. So the old solenoid is shot. But I'm going to go ahead and put the new solenoid back on the way I just had it and bolt everything in, and I'll show you how it looks once I'm done. So give me a few minutes, and I'll bring you back once that's complete. All right, well, hopefully you can see this down here, but I got it all back together. Down here, I've got those 2 ground wires on the ground with the ground screw that goes through the chassis on the solenoid, and we've got it all hooked back up. It's all in place, and the down works, the up works. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get this buttoned all back up, and then we should be ready to get this thing on the water and give it a test fire. So I'll bring you back once we're ready to do that. All right, here we go. This will be the first start on the lake in who knows how long. Find our primer bubble. Okay, we got fuel. Go choke in. Come on. Make sure our gas line's plugged in all the way, actually. Okay. Come on. All right, let's pop the cover off and see if we're getting fuel up top.
I can see why. Come on.
She's teasing us now.
I want to blow on it.
Still not. It doesn't seem like it's getting enough fuel yet.
Yeah.
It's close. Choke is off. All right, guys, we're gonna go on our maiden voyage, and the first time in 20 to 30 years, so we'll see. We're in gear. I think there's one. Oh, so far so good. She idles. She's running smooth. Get her turned, and then we'll idle out to where we can turn her up. We're good. All right, we've been idling for a good while here, so now we're gonna try to take it up on plane and see how it goes. A little down on power for some reason. Well, we're a little down on power. Let's see what's going on. Okay, we think it's working now. We just need to adjust the trim as we go, so we're gonna give that a shot here. Now we're moving pretty good. Yeah, this boat just seems to take a little while to get going. I'm not sure if that's how it's supposed to be, but now we're cruising along pretty good. All right, so we'll probably take it out on the big lake here and go for a longer cruise here. After taking turns running it around the lake a bit, we brought it in and gave it its first bath in years. With a little bit of elbow grease, we were able to uncover beneath the layers of dust a true piece of 70s nostalgia. From the white finish, to the blue metal flake, to the white vinyl, this thing really held its beauty just as it did back in 1979 when it was produced. I then hopped in my 1977 Baja and got some footage running side by side with the Switzer as it was tearing across the lake. And it looked awesome, just as it would have decades ago before it was parked. I was recently told by a friend that this boat was the prized possession of its previous owner, and I do believe he was working on it shortly before he passed away. So I believe he would be proud and happy to see it back on the water, just like it was 45 years ago when it was brand new. This was a really fun project, and I'd like to thank the current owners for giving me the opportunity to work on this boat and get it back in the water for them. Like I said, it was a 2-year process, but I think it was worth it in the end. They wound up with a beautiful piece of history, and I really hope they enjoy it as long as they choose to keep owning it. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you want more content like that. I really hope you enjoyed this video. It was really rewarding getting that boat back in the water. Check back soon because we're going to have a big revival coming up of this old girl back here. So, you think she's going to run? Guess we'll find out. Until then, signing off.